Nobody tells you that grief makes your liver sick. Not the loss of a person only, though that too. The loss of a home you lived in for 30 years, a marriage that ended, a career that gave you your identity, children who moved far away, the slow, quiet loss of a body that used to do things easily that now take everything you have. These are not just emotional events, they are physical ones. Sustained grief and stress elevate a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol drives fat directly into your liver. This is not metaphor. This is biochemistry. Research published in leading medical journals confirms the link between chronic psychological stress and the development of fatty liver disease in women. So if you have been wondering why your health shifted after a difficult few years, why your sugar went up, why the weight settled differently, why you feel tired in a way that sleep does not fix, you are not imagining it. And it is not your fault. Stay with me, because I am going to show you exactly how to reverse it. And it starts with understanding why it happened in the first place, with what it actually feels like to be managing your health at 60, 70, and above. You get 8 minutes with your doctor, if you are lucky. You go in with a list of things you want to ask about: your sugar, your pressure, the ache in your knees that showed up 3 months ago, the fact that you have not slept through the night in longer than you can remember. And you leave with a prescription adjustment and a printout you have already read online. You come home, you search, you find 10 different answers. One article says eat more fat, another says cut all fat. One says coffee is good for your liver, the next says coffee is hard on your kidneys. You try one thing for a few weeks, you don't feel any different, and quietly, privately, you wonder if you are just not doing enough. That shame is real, and it is completely undeserved. Because here is what nobody tells you. Your body over 60 is not the same body that the studies were conducted on. Most of the nutritional guidelines we are all following were built on research done primarily for young adults, primarily in their 30s. The advice was not designed for you. And here is something else nobody mentions, because medicine does not have a billing code for grief. Loss changes your body. The death of a spouse, a grown child moving far away, a house you had to leave, the end of a career that gave you structure and identity. These are not just emotional events. They trigger a sustained elevation of cortisol, your stress hormone, that directly drives fat to deposit in your liver. Research published in the journal Hepatology confirms the link between chronic psychological stress and the progression of fatty liver disease. You did not give yourself this condition by eating badly or being lazy. Your body responded to your life. That is not weakness. That is biology. So let me show you what I know and give you back the controls. First, let me explain very briefly what fatty liver actually is, because most clients I talk to have been given this diagnosis with almost no explanation. Your liver is one of the hardest working organs in your body. It filters everything. It manages your blood sugar. It produces the bile that breaks down fat. It handles hormones. It does over 500 individual jobs every day. When too much fat builds up inside the liver cells, not from eating fat, and we are going to talk about that misconception, the liver starts to work less efficiently. It cannot manage blood sugar as well. It cannot regulate inflammation as well. Your energy crashes. Your weight becomes harder to manage. Your sleep gets worse. And because the liver has no pain receptors, it sends no alarm. It just quietly struggles. The good news, and this is genuinely good news, is that the liver is one of the most regenerative organs in the human body. Unlike your heart or your kidneys, the liver can reverse early and moderate damage. Not someday, not with surgery, with the right changes made consistently over weeks. Studies published in leading gastroenterology journals have shown measurable reduction in liver fat in as little as 2 weeks with dietary changes alone. Not 2 years, 2 weeks. So let me walk you through exactly what those changes look like. 5 steps. Specific, practical, no perfection required. Step 1. Remove the one food group that is directly feeding your liver fat. The most common misconception about fatty liver is that it is caused by eating fat. It is not. The primary driver is a specific type of sugar called fructose. Here is the plain English version of what happens. Your body can process some fructose just fine. A piece of fruit, a drizzle of honey, your intestines can handle that. But when you consume concentrated, manufactured fructose, the kind that is in packaged foods, sodas, salad dressings, bread, cereals, and anything with high fructose corn syrup on the label, your liver gets overwhelmed. It cannot process it fast enough, so it converts the excess into fat and stores it right there in your liver cells. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that just 7 days of a high fructose diet measurably increased fat in the liver. 7 days. Now here's the part that catches women by surprise. I am not talking about sodas. You already know about sodas. I am talking about orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice, the juices that have been promoted as healthy your entire life, that you pour for your grandchildren, that you drink because fruit is supposed to be good for you. A 12-ounce glass of orange juice has 31 grams of sugar. Almost all of it fructose, with no fiber to slow it down. That is more than a Snickers bar. And unlike eating an orange, where the fiber slows the absorption of the sugar over time, the juice hits your liver all at once. Sports drinks, energy drinks, the sweet iced tea from the drive-thru, all of it. I am not asking you to give up joy. I am asking you to look at your drinks first, because that is often where most of the damage is coming from. And it is the easiest thing to change. Your action for this week. For 7 days, remove all sweetened drinks from your routine. Replace them with water, plain sparkling water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. That is it. Just drinks. Do not change anything else yet. Research shows this single change can reduce liver fat measurably within 2 weeks. I want to say something here about fruit, because this is where women get confused and feel like everything is off limits. Whole fruit is not the problem. A peach, an apple, berries, these come with fiber that slows absorption, and vitamin C that actually buffers some of the effects of fructose. Studies show that increased fructose from whole fruit is associated with a reduced risk of fatty liver disease. Eat your fruit. Do not drink it. Step 2. Eat more protein, especially in the morning. This one surprises people, but it may be the most powerful shift you make. A study published in the journal Obesity followed over 9,000 Australians and found something remarkable. The amount of protein a person ate in the first half of their day was directly linked to what they ate in the second half. People who ate more protein in the morning ate less overall, and specifically ate less sugar and fewer processed foods in the evening. But people who started the day with low protein, a piece of toast, a bowl of cereal, a cup of coffee, were significantly more likely to reach for sugary or high carbohydrate foods later in the day. Not because of lack of willpower, because their hunger hormones were unbalanced from the start. Protein also directly supports liver recovery. Your liver uses amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to repair and regenerate its cells. When you are low on protein, the liver does not have the materials it needs to heal itself. The goal is 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal. That sounds like a lot. Let me make it concrete. What 30 grams of protein looks like at breakfast. 3 eggs scrambled with a handful of spinach, about 21 grams. Add 2 tablespoons of plain Greek yogurt on the side, 6 to 8 grams more. Total, approximately 28 to 30 grams. Or 1 cup of Greek yogurt, 20 grams. A small handful of walnuts, 5 grams. Half a cup of cottage cheese, 14 grams. Total, approximately 35 to 40 grams. No smoothies, no granola bars, no toast alone. Real protein, real food. I want to tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 68. She was diagnosed with fatty liver 2 years ago and told to watch her weight. She left the appointment with no specific guidance. She started this channel and spent a year trying low-fat diets, walking every day, and still felt exhausted and stuck. The one change that shifted everything for her was breakfast. She had been eating a small bowl of oatmeal every morning for years, thinking it was the right thing to do. She switched to 2 eggs, a portion of smoked salmon, and half an avocado. Within 3 weeks, her afternoon cravings, the ones she had blamed herself for every single day, almost disappeared. Within 6 weeks, her doctor noted an improvement in her liver enzymes at a routine check. She told me, "I spent 2 years thinking I had no self-control. It turned out I just had not eaten enough protein at breakfast." Step 3, add the fats that heal your liver and understand the ones that stress it. This is where most health advice gets muddled, and I want to give you clarity. There is not one single type of fat. Dietary fat is a family, and different members of that family do very different things in your body. The distinction that matters most for your liver is between polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats on one hand, and excess saturated fat on the other. Let me be direct. Eating red meat is not the problem. Eating a reasonable amount of natural saturated fat is not the problem. The problem is excess saturated fat from processed and fried foods, because research has confirmed that this specific pattern drives fat deposition in the liver. A double-blind, randomized controlled trial, the gold standard of nutrition research, found that just 7 weeks of overfeeding with saturated fat from processed sources produced a marked increase in liver fat. The same study found that overfeeding with polyunsaturated fat from sources like sunflower oil caused a nearly 3 times greater increase in lean muscle mass with no increase in liver fat at all. The fats that actively help your liver are the ones in these foods: oily fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, 2 to 3 times per week, walnuts and almonds, a small handful daily, avocado, half an avocado several times per week is excellent. Extra virgin olive oil, use this as your primary cooking fat. Chia seeds and flax seeds, sprinkled over yogurt or soup. The fats to reduce, not eliminate, just reduce, are the ones in heavily processed meats, store-bought pastries, restaurant fried foods, and most packaged snack foods. You do not need to count grams. You do not need to weigh your food. You need to make a simple habit shift. When you cook at home, use olive oil. When you eat protein, favor fish and eggs alongside your meat. Add a handful of walnuts to things. That is the whole step. Step 4, drink the 2 things your liver actually loves. You have probably heard that green tea is good for you. I want to tell you specifically why it matters for your liver. Because when you understand the mechanism, you are far more likely to actually make the habit. Green tea contains compounds called catechins, powerful antioxidants that protect your liver cell from the oxidative damage that drives fatty liver from mild disease into more serious conditions like fibrosis. But that is not all. Green tea also partially blocks an enzyme called pancreatic lipase, which is responsible for absorbing fat from your meals. When that enzyme is mildly inhibited, you absorb slightly fewer calories from the fat in your food. That is why traditional cultures around the world have served tea after heavy meals for centuries, not as a cultural quirk, but as biology. A meta-analysis of 15 studies found that regular tea drinkers had significantly reduced risk of liver steatosis, the fat buildup that is the hallmark of fatty liver disease, as well as reduced risk of more serious liver conditions, including cirrhosis and liver cancer. The practical recommendation: drink 1 to 2 cups of green tea per day, ideally after your main meals. Not green tea extract in a capsule. Actual brewed tea. Matcha also counts. If you do not enjoy green tea, hibiscus tea has a separate and well-documented set of benefits for both liver health and blood pressure. A 12-week randomized trial found it reduced liver fat, body weight, and cortisol levels. The second drink your liver loves is coffee. Yes, real coffee. A meta-analysis of 11 epidemiological studies found that regular coffee consumption is significantly associated with reduced risk of fatty liver disease and reduced risk of liver fibrosis in people who already have it. The mechanism is not completely understood, but coffee is rich in antioxidants and polyphenols that reduce inflammation and protect liver cell function. 1 to 2 cups per day of regular black coffee appears to be the sweet spot. This is not a green light for a caramel macchiato with 3 pumps of syrup. That is just fructose with coffee flavoring. But your morning cup of plain coffee? It is working for you, not against you. Step 5. Move in the way that actually changes your liver, even with bad knees. I know what you're about to say, and I hear you. Your knees, your back, the hip that has not been right since last winter, the fact that you had a hard month and just couldn't get outside, the gym that is either too expensive or too intimidating, or both. Here is what I want you to know about exercise and fatty liver. You do not need to run. You do not need a gym. You do not need anything that hurts. The research recommends 150 minutes of moderate intensity movement per week to support liver recovery. That is not 5 intense workouts. That is a 20-minute walk after dinner, 5 days a week. It is standing up from your chair and walking to the kitchen and back 3 or 4 times during a long television program. It is dancing in your kitchen while you cook. Any movement that gets your heart rate gently elevated and keeps it there for 20 minutes. But here is the part that matters even more than cardio. And this is the information that most people over 60 are never given. Resistance exercise, muscle building activity, is one of the most powerful tools for liver health because muscle is where your body stores and uses glucose. The more functional muscle you have, the more efficiently your body clears blood sugar before it reaches your liver. Muscle is metabolically protective. Resistance exercise does not mean barbells. It means sitting down in a chair and standing up 10 times in a row, twice a day. That is a squat. Wall push-ups in your kitchen while the kettle boils. A set of light hand weights used during a television program. Carrying your own groceries as far as you comfortably can. Climbing the stairs instead of the lift, even just once a day. These are not compromises. This is evidence-based exercise for women over 60. Your body responds to resistance. It wants to maintain muscle. You just have to give it the signal. I want to tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy is 72. She has 2 artificial knee replacements and has been told by 3 different people in her life, including one doctor, that she cannot really exercise anymore. She started doing chair squats in her living room, 10 in the morning, 10 after lunch. She added wall push-ups. She started walking to her letterbox and back every evening after dinner. Nothing dramatic, nothing that hurt. After 4 months, her liver enzymes had improved significantly, and for the first time in years, she told me she felt like herself again. Not younger, herself. I want to stop here for a moment, because I know that some of you are watching this and cataloging everything you have not done. You are thinking about the biscuits you had yesterday, the week you did not walk anywhere, the blood sugar number that has been creeping up, the fact that you know all of this already and still feel like you are failing. If you had a cookie yesterday, that is one data point. That is not a failure. That is your Thursday. The liver does not keep score by the meal. It responds to patterns over weeks. One indulgent evening does not undo a week of good choices. And more importantly, guilt and shame do not help your liver. They spike your cortisol, which directly worsens insulin resistance, which directly feeds liver fat accumulation. The shame loop is not just unpleasant. It is physiologically counterproductive. What works is curiosity. Instead of, I failed, try, that is interesting. What was I feeling when I reached for that? Was I tired? Was I lonely? Was I just bored at 4 in the afternoon? That question leads somewhere useful. Guilt leads nowhere except back to the beginning of the loop. You are not a patient who needs to comply. You are a woman who is learning to work with a body that has been through a lot. I want to address supplements briefly, because I know you have seen the lists. Milk thistle, berberine, curcumin, CoQ10, omega-3s. The shelves are full of things that claim to fix your liver. Here is the honest answer. Some of these have decent scientific evidence behind them, and none of them work as a substitute for the food and movement changes we just talked about. They work as enhancements if the foundation is already in place. The supplement with the most consistent evidence for fatty liver is omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA from fish oil. A systematic review and meta-analysis of 11 randomized controlled trials found that omega-3 supplementation significantly reduced liver markers and reduced liver fat content. Fish oil also reduces triglycerides, which is directly relevant if your doctor has ever mentioned your triglycerides at a checkup. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has real evidence behind it too. A 2019 meta-analysis of 9 randomized controlled trials showed significant decreases in liver enzymes and beneficial effects on blood sugar and insulin sensitivity in patients with fatty liver. But here is my recommendation. Before you spend money on any supplement, bring this up with your doctor. Ask for your ALT and AST numbers from your next blood test. Ask for your uric acid level. These numbers will tell you and your doctor exactly where your liver is right now, and that information is far more valuable than any supplement. Your food is your medicine. The supplements, if appropriate, come after. Fatty liver after 60 is common. It is quiet. It steals your energy, makes your blood sugar harder to manage, and worsens the fatigue that everyone around you is dismissing as just part of getting older. But it is reversible. The research is clear, and you now know exactly what to do. Here is your one action for this week. Just one. Do not try to do all 5 steps at once. Pick the drinks. Your one action this week. For 7 days, remove all sweetened drinks from your routine. Every glass of water, plain tea, or black coffee is your liver recovering. That is the whole assignment. Start there. If any of this resonated, if something I said today names something you have been feeling for a long time, I want to ask you to do one thing. Not for me, for someone else. Think of someone you know who is tired all the time and has stopped expecting it to change. A friend, a sister, your daughter, your loved one. Send her this video, not with a note saying, "You have fatty liver." Just send it. She can decide what to do with it. But she needs to hear that she is not broken. She has not given up. She just has not had the right information yet. You and I both know how much it matters to feel seen, to be told that your tiredness is real, and that there is a reason for it, and that you are not too far gone. You are not too far gone. You are not too old. And the fact that you are sitting here, watching this, asking questions about your health and your future, that is not desperation. That is strength. That is what it looks like when a woman refuses to disappear quietly. I will see you next week. Because next week, we are going to talk about something that is connected to everything we discussed today. Your blood sugar. Specifically, why your normal number might not actually be normal, and why the most important test your doctor is probably not ordering might be the one that changes everything. Stay curious. You have more control than you have been told.